I always needle Eagle fans because I know it pisses them off, but I've never understand why that makes them mad. If somebody says to me, "Oh, Phillip Rivers would have more talent than Eli," I say, "Okay, but Eli has 2 championships, and I'm cool with that. I like that better." So I'll never understand that. But if Jaxson Dart wins games and he's anywhere as close to Baker Mayfield or Drew Brees, like I said, I might need therapy because I'll be way too happy and people wonder something's wrong with me because I'm happy. And that doesn't usually happen.
The key stat for me, and I posted it on Twitter earlier this week, and this isn't just because of Jaxson Dart. I want to say that. You have to remember that Jaxson Dart has had Andrew Thomas with him for these last 3 games. Russell Wilson didn't have that. I think Andrew Thomas plays a factor to this discrepancy in stat. But the first 3 games with Russell Wilson, the New York Giants, were 11 of 50 on third down. 22% of the time they converted on third down. Since Jaxson Dart has entered the lineup, 1, they haven't had as many third downs, which means they're converting more on first and second down. They've only had 40 third down opportunities in over the 3 games with Jaxson Dart at quarterback as opposed to 50, and they're 21 of 40. So they've had 10 less third down attempts, and they've converted 10 more for 53%. It's like almost triple the conversion rate when they had Russell Wilson at quarterback. So that, to me, has been the biggest difference with this offense. They've been able to move the chains a lot more frequently than when Russell Wilson was at quarterback.
A lot of that has to do with Dart's mobility, and I think that's why.
And we saw a lot less of Scat in the first couple games, too, because he was injured throughout the summer and preseason. I think all of it combined has helped, for sure.
Yeah. Let's keep rolling. Let's win 2 in a row. That would be amazing. Let's win 2 in a row. That'd be an amazing feat. This team win 2 in a row. JJ says, I felt good for New Orleans, but I feel good again. I know, man. I don't like it either. I don't like, because what I was thinking, I'm talking to my buddy at work today, and I'm like, if we actually beat Denver, right, and then you did go in and somehow you beat Philly, say you were 4-4, I'd have to sit there and reflect and say to myself, even if we win this game against Denver, you have to reflect and go, are we really, are we like good now? Because that would be 3 playoff teams we beat. And I'd be like, are we good?
I know. I think if we win this game this week, I'm not saying we're a Super Bowl contender, but I think at that point you'd have to be like, yeah, the Giants are pretty good. Like
that's what I mean. I'd be like, are we good without Malik Neighbors?
Denver hasn't lost at home in over a year.
A lot of things are coming to fruition. Jalen Hurts hadn't thrown an interception in 300 some odd days. That happened. We hadn't won a Thursday night game in 10 years. That happened, right? So let's break all these dubious records that we were setting. Let's change the tide. Let's change the story here. You know what I mean? Let's end their winning streak at home. They're due to lose. So let's do it. Plus, where did they fly back from?
London.
So come on. Let's take advantage of the rest. Let's go. Corp, thank you so much. A shout out to the Giants Collective Fantastic Four. In zombie films, we're used to them walking slowly. But what happens when they run hard, fast, and bite? That's Cam Scataboom! A zombie that runs and bites.
I love it.
I had a dumbass Eagle fan. I can't.
So you just talked to an Eagle fan then.
They really need help. Well, he comments on one of my videos and he goes, Baddog, it's pronounced Scatabo, B-O, not like Scooby-Dooby. Get the fuck off my page. You know what the hell you're talking about? What are you talking about? It's Scatabo. I'm like, that just tells you to watch a game. Casual bit. I'm glad, I'm actually glad that we're done with them next week. I can't take any more stupid. Like, it hurts my head. Like, they're really special there. It's a special group of fans, that is. Lou, thank you so much. He says, I'll give up Wilson, Jake Fromm, Glennon, Joe Judge, Ben McAdoo, Kenny G, Tony, Eric Gray, Kenny Holmes for Waddle.
I think I would too.
I'd give them all up for a large New York pie.
A blade of grass.
Yeah, same.
A blade of grass. Dean, thank you, brother. He says, I completely agree. Bringing in Waddle would also allow Slayton to fill the wide receiver 3 role. Also try out Hyatt in the slot to see if he can work from there. It would be amazing, but I can't imagine having a Waddle on the opposite side of Neighbors.
I also think if you acquire Waddle, Sorry, I think if you acquire Waddle, it helps make your decision on Wan'Dale Robinson going into free agency this offseason a
He's
lot
gone.
easier. You know, you just move on and you get a compensatory pick for him because he's playing well. He probably, you know, and so if you're looking at it from that perspective, you're going to give up a lot of draft capital to trade for Jalen Waddle. You're going to get some of it back naturally just by letting Wan'Dale Robinson walk in free agency.
Depends, Anthony, because it could be offset if we bring players in. But yeah,
but the Giants don't have a lot of cap space next offseason. A lot of fans think they do, but right now they've only got $19 million. So yeah, there's a good chance that they would get. Yeah,
and if the major acquisition they make, much like when they traded for Brian Burns, that doesn't go against the comp formula.
Exactly.
Bringing in Jalen Waddle, that wouldn't hurt you with the comp formula. So you may very well get a comp pick for Wan'Dale if you let him go. Yeah.
Good, Johnny. You were going to say something about Scatterboo.
Oh, I'm just like, when we talk about the future a little bit, especially if they bring in someone like Waddle, like, how could you not think that 2026 would be an electric, like, we should be going to the playoffs in 2026 if they bring in someone like Waddle. You get Neighbors back, you have Dart in year 2, you have Scat, you have Andrew Thomas hopefully healthy. I really hope they re-sign Illuminor. If they do that, then you can take Marcus Bowe, move him to guard. If you don't want to re-sign Runyon, like, the defensive line stays in place with all of those people. You've got all of, like, the safeties and the corners in the next year. I just, like, oh my God, how could you not be excited about a team like that?
I know, and I don't want to.
And I think you probably draft if you trade for Waddle, almost certainly probably draft a lineman in the first round too to really beef up that offensive line. So yeah, it would be exciting next year going into next year for sure.
It's crazy. A term we don't really use here in the Giants fan base recently is optimism. But when you look at these young players and what they've been able to accomplish in just such a short period of time, you know, you definitely should have some optimism. I know that game in New Orleans sucks, and it's worse even now looking at what they just did to Philadelphia. If we were sitting at 3-3 right now, we'd be in second place in this division, and you'd be a game behind the Eagles with the tiebreaker. So that was a big loss, but also the way they responded. You know, they could have went the complete opposite way after turning the ball over 5 times. You know, Scatterboo fumbled and Dart turned over 3 times, and they could have went in hanging their head and they played a shitty game, and instead they took it. And Scatterboo even put on Twitter, "Hey, you know, I'll be better." And I mean, you can't get much better than 100 yards, pretty much, and 3 touchdowns. And you know, Dart again leading us to 2 touchdown drives in the first 2 possessions. And the way they responded as young guys in prime time against the defending Super Bowl champions. If you're not optimistic about what they can bring, I don't know what you need to see. I mean, again, we need to win more games. I get it, but this is a young, very, very young core of players. And as long as you keep building off of that core, that's how you become a contender every year. So let's hope they continue the momentum. Alex, thank you. He says, will there be enough cap for Kayvon and Jermaine?
They'll make it. They'll make the room. Yes, they'll find a way to. Yes.
You just do restructure stuff.
When you have a quarterback on a rookie salary, you can get creative. You can move money around, and that's exactly what they will do. I expect them to keep both of those players.
Cruise on. Thank